Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam and I hope you're doing really well. And on this channel, I like to talk about all things film, Blu-ray and physical media collecting. So this is the 8th installment of my Blu-ray collection curation challenge series. And this video is going to be focused on documentary films. So throughout cinematic history as well as television, there have been some incredible documentaries, and yeah, I'm just going to be picking 3 films from my collection that I want to put into my curation and also purging a documentary title. So let's just get straight into it. So the next pick in my curation is something I consider to be the best thing that was put out in 2020. And it's the ESPN produced documentary series, The Last Dance. So The Last Dance, if you're not aware, although you probably are even if you haven't seen it because it was all over Netflix, is a documentary series that sort of chronicles the dynasty that was the Chicago Bulls in the 90s and how they won 6 titles. Closely follows Michael Jordan, but also sort of highlights Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman's career and the coach Phil Jackson. And it's just an engrossing, superbly entertainingly made documentary series that I have watched through twice now, and it could be something that I watch on a yearly basis. It's that good. And I will say that I am a huge sports fan and I do support the Chicago Bulls, so there may be some bias there, but I know there's lots of people who don't like basketball or who don't support the Bulls who really enjoy this. Like, even if you're not into sport, you could really get a lot out of this because it has a lot of insight into the cult that was Michael Jordan in the 80s and 90s and how he was like the biggest star on the planet, and the sort of like the psychological effects that can have on an individual. And it's really interesting study of that. So this has some highlights from some of the key games throughout that dynasty period, and it's just, even though if you know the sports history and you know how the result ends up, it's just filmed and cut and edited in such a way that it gets you feeling like it's a live game. And yeah, it's just one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, and it truly deserves to be in my curation. Next up is a documentary film by Bill Morrison, and I've spoke about this on the channel a number of times, and if you've been watching from the beginning, you're probably sick of hearing me talk about this one by now, but I really like to promote films that I feel are really undervalued and may not get seen by a lot of people. If you're a film lover, you're bound to get some sort of enjoyment out of this, and I'm talking about Dawson City Frozen Time. So this is a release by Second Run Films, which is a UK based company, and this film is about the discovery of some lost silent films that were buried in the permafrost in Dawson in Canada. So during the gold rush era, a lot of prospectors built these towns on the edge of the gold rush trail, and when they weren't mining or digging, they needed some form of entertainment in the evening, so a lot of films were shipped to them. And when the films were done, they had nowhere to store them. They kept piling up and piling up, so basically they ended up burying a bunch of them, which helped preserve some of the film stock over the course of about 50-60 years. And by accident, when the foundations of a building was being put into place, a digger uncovered mountains and mountains of film reels, and a huge project went underway to restore and preserve and show the films that were basically lost to time. There were so many films from that era that are completely lost. It's estimated that approximately only 10% of the films that were made prior to 1929 still exist in some form, whether damaged or intact. So that is such a huge amount of films that we will never see, that could possibly be masterpieces that would today be considered some of the best of all time, but no one has seen them for so long and they're just lost now. So this is such a fantastic discovery of a snapshot in time, and it also details the lives of the people that lived in the city and some of the tragedies that befall some of the people that lived there. And it's just a superb documentary, and I highly recommend checking this out. If you love film, if you love silent era film, and just, yeah, it's just superb. Speaking of the silent era, my next pick is also one of my favorite documentaries. That's why they're going in my curation, I guess. I'm talking about Man in the Movie Camera by Zigabertov. I never know how to pronounce that. My pronunciation of names, as you might well come to realize on this channel, is not the best, so I do apologize if I butchered that. So The Man and the Movie Camera is a Soviet film from 1929 that sort of documents in a very experimental way the daily life of Russian citizens at the time period in which it was shot. And it's extremely well put together and edited, and it also is like a testament to filmmaking itself, as there's footage of the film being edited and put together, and like the actual film stock being cut and spliced together, and it's just such a joy to watch and so engaging. And I truly adore this documentary. If you've never, it sounds really strange that to have a silent era documentary, but the images speak volumes about what is trying to be communicated here. And I'd love to get my hands on the special edition of this from Eureka. It's long out of print and fetches quite a price now, but this is one to keep for all time, and it's amazing. So now for my Purge pick. So this is a bit unusual because this is a film I like, but it's one that I'll never watch again. I have no desire to watch it, even though I think it's a really good film, because it's very much a one-time experience, and I see no benefit to me ever re-watching this film. And I'm talking about Errol Morris's The Thin Blue Line. So this is extremely well made sort of true crime documentary. They sort of set the benchmark for how those sorts of documentaries should be made. However, it's very much a presentation of evidence for both sides of the argument, and then it lets the viewer make up their mind about the situation and what may have occurred with the crime that happens in the film that is detailed here. And as good as it is, I'd probably give this film like 4 stars. Like, it was a really good film, but I've seen it, and the rewatchability of this is, for me, absolutely none. I can't see myself ever getting more out of this in the future from a rewatch, because I've already taken in everything that the film's had to offer me. And yeah, I don't really know what to say about this one. It's a good film, but it doesn't belong on my shelf because it's never going to see a rewatch. So what's the point in it being there, really, other than a visual reminder that I have seen it and I thought it was good. So yeah, this is being Purged, but this is by no means a bad film, and if you haven't seen this, I highly recommend checking it out. But it doesn't need to be on my shelf because I've seen it, and it's very much a one and done type of film, in my opinion. If you have a different view on that, please let me know in the comments below, and let me know why you think a film like this benefits from repeated viewings, considering its documentary type formatting. So that's a wrap for this episode of the Blu-ray collection curation challenge. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment below, and let's have a conversation about physical media. So until next time, everybody, take care.